Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is February 7th, and we are here to share with you about superfoods for pregnancy and how to nourish yourself and baby naturally. So, we're so happy to have you here. We have such an incredible presentation, and my dear friend Grace and Million Mom Movement Council member has been dedicating her entire life to the healing arts. She holds a certification in holistic midwifery and is a co-author of the book Bird's Eye View of Birth Work, and creator of Intentional Conception Method. And so she's a really passionate mama on this mission with us and one of our newest council members, along with Dominique Jeffries, Ashley Morales, and Sherry Packard. And I'm so grateful to have these incredible women here with me on this mission. And so much to share here today. And so before we go any further, we would love to see who would like to read our pledge with us. And I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here with us. So who would like to read the pledge? Dominique, would you like to read the pledge? Oh, I see Lauren wants to read the pledge. So happy to have you.
I was gonna say I'll do it, but go ahead, Lauren.
I would love to have you do it, Lauren. So we'll go ahead and ask you to unmute and I will share my screen. Go ahead and take it away.
Yay! Okay. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Amazing. And would you like to share a little bit about what this movement means to you?
Yes, I got to share this last week too. But it's super, super important to me because I am 1 year in preparing to have a baby, and I found Purium right when I just made that decision. So I know it's so important for our kids and family dynamics to be healthy and thriving so that we can be the best versions of ourselves for the kids who can then be the best versions of themselves so that they're able to be in their bodies and connected to the earth and themselves and people around them and be able to make a positive impact on the planet and know that they're able to. And just it's so important, and it starts in our body to be nourished and be there, just to be present in our bodies and stuff. So I don't know, I'm very, very passionate about this. It's so important.
Absolutely. I love your passion. And it's so true that, it really starts with nourishing ourselves. And I'm so happy to hear that you are, really preparing your body for that time of your life when you're ready to conceive and being able to really fully detox the toxins that are in your body so that you can have a fresh start, creating that new life. And so that's something that's really important and something that we often talk about here. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. Wonderful. So, thank you all for joining us here on the Million Mom Movement Friday call. We appreciate you always being a part of this movement. Each and every one of you here is a part of this movement, and it starts with what we can do for ourselves and how we can ripple that out into our communities. And I don't think I introduced myself earlier, so I'm Naiva Florian. I'm super passionate about this mission. I have been sharing these superfoods for 10 and a half years. I started as a postpartum mom on this journey, really needing to nourish myself first. I was overwhelmed. I was undernourished. At the time, I had 5 kids in 4 different schools and a new baby. So anybody who is already a mom can feel that overwhelm and stress that I had first thing in the morning. And for those of you who are still on the journey of becoming a mom, and maybe you're on your pregnancy journey right now, and that's why you're on this call today, we're so excited to just share more with you about how you can nourish yourself and have the best experience possible through your pregnancy. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, Grace. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, Neva, and thank you to all of you for showing up today. As was said, I am certified in holistic midwifery. I actually have founded a school called the School of Sentient Birth, and I had kind of a lifelong obsession with wanting to become pregnant. I found Purium in my postpartum time as well. I had my daughter at the age of 42, and she's my one and only, and I had worked with a lot of postpartum couples prior to my own postpartum time. So I thought that I would be a little immune to some of the things that can kind of whop us in the postpartum time. And I wasn't. I had a tough postpartum journey, and I found Purium at 2 years postpartum, and it really changed my life. And one of the things I talked about a lot because I was in the field of birth work was I wish I had found Purium prior to my pregnancy. Um, one of the ways that Purium has really notably shown up in pregnancy for me is in working with women, after they have their child and working with their placentas. Right. So a lot of the women in my organization ended up having the journey of pregnancy and having Purium for that journey. And so I work also with placentas, making medicine from placentas, doing placenta readings for families, which is like just looking at the placenta and sharing what can be told about the child and their journey through what we see in the placenta. But the thing I noticed was that there was a distinctly different energy and vibrancy in placentas of women who had been taking Purium, right? Oftentimes the placenta is very friable, like the tissue kind of tears apart. And at the end of the pregnancy, it's like done its job. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so it can be like a little tired, right? But I remember the first Purium placenta that I saw. It was bright and vibrant and very strong and very full. And my friend and I, who is also, she loves Purium, she took it her whole pregnancy. We were just like, wow, this is amazing. So we made medicine for her out of her placenta. We dried it and, dehydrated it, and she had placenta caps to take during her postpartum time as well. And so I wanted to talk just a tiny bit about the placenta in different indigenous cultures, because as we move through the presentation today, I'm not only going to talk about the birth of, for some reason, I'm looking at myself instead of the camera. I'm not going to talk about just the development of the baby and what the mother needs, but I'm also going to talk about the placenta. One of the things I was most excited about after going through midwifery school and then conceiving my daughter was this realization that I was also going to be growing a placenta. I was super excited about it. All right, so the placenta is often called the tree of life, all right? And it holds deep spiritual significance in many indigenous traditions and wisdom teachings, including those shared by my teacher. Her name's Wapio, and she has a school called the Matrona. So it's seen not just as an organ, but as a sacred companion to the baby. The placenta is actually the baby's spiritual twin. They start as the same cell, and then they divide, and half of that cell becomes the baby, and half becomes the placenta, which I think is just wild. So, it's known as a twin spirit, a guide, a bridge between the worlds, and the placenta connects the baby to the mother, the ancestors, and the cosmos, and it serves as a vessel of nourishment and wisdom and protection, all right? So in many indigenous cultures, there's different ceremonies that are done with the placenta. There's burying the placenta, under a tree or in the earth. The Navajo, the Maori, the Filipino cultures, they really prioritize returning the placenta to the earth and planting it under a tree to symbolize the child's life path, right? And then there is something known as lotus birth, which is what I decided to do. Lotus birth is leaving the placenta connected to the baby until the cord naturally drops off. And so the idea behind that is that, if we choose to keep it attached until it naturally detaches, it honors the sacred connection between the placenta and the baby, but also it's said that the children get the full nourishment instead of having the cord cut and some of that nourishment not getting to them. Right. So my daughter's placenta was connected to her for 4 days, and then her cord just naturally dropped off. And then we actually made medicine out of the placenta as well. And one of the other things that is done is ritual offerings. Some traditions, they burn, they dehydrate, they create medicine, as I just said, and they really acknowledge the placenta as a powerful entity and of transition and protection. All right. And so my teacher actually taught that the placenta is an intermediary between the realms, physical, energetic, cosmic, because it holds the essence of the baby's soul, and it acts as an emissary of vitality, delivering not only nutrients, but also spiritual information is encoded within the blood. And it is the perfect medicine for mama, dad or partner, and baby. So I have still some of my placenta in my freezer, and anytime things are seeming off with my daughter, sometimes I'll just like sprinkle it on her eggs and put it in a smoothie, something like that, and it really kind of brings her back to that core essence. So with that, Naiva, if you want to pull up the slides, I would love to move into talking about trimester by trimester. We're going to look at what happens with the baby, what happens with the placenta, the mom, and then nutrition that is helpful for that. So give me a moment to actually get to where I want to be here in my notes. All right, great. So my approach to, if you can go back to that other slide for just a sec. So my approach really is about birth and pregnancy as a sacred rite of passage, all right? And as I said, we're going to talk about baby, placenta, mother, and nutritional needs, and just really inviting us to enjoy like this component of moving from, considering the placenta as, the baby's spiritual twin as we go through this. So go ahead, Eva, if you go to the next slide. All right. First trimester, that's weeks 1 through 12. Right. So what's happening for the baby is that the baby develops from a single fertilized egg into a recognizable human form with a beating heart. Its major organ systems start to form and its neural pathways take shape. All right. And then the placenta starts as a trophoblast cell, right? And then it roots into the uterine lining. So it connects to the mama and it establishes a deep network for nutrient exchange. And this is super fascinating. By week 8 to 10, the placenta actually takes over the hormone production that sustains the pregnancy. All right, and then what's happening for mama? All right, she's having mental shifts starting to happen. Her intuition starts to heighten. Many experiences of like vivid dreams and deeper introspection. And then in terms of her body, fatigue, nausea. My first midwifery teacher, she really talked about nausea as being not necessarily just a physical symptom, but the process of integrating a new soul into our body and that sort of in-between feeling, which I think is fascinating. But yes, fatigue, nausea, hormonal surges, that starts to mark the body shift into the pregnancy mode. And then on a soul level, this is a time of like very deep surrender and initiation. And many women feel really deeply connected to spirit and kind of the unseen realms. In this first trimester, one of the things, some of the things that are really helpful in regard to Purium nutrition is our basic core 4, all right? And that's really going to help to create healthy fats. The apothecary is going to support restful sleep, and that's very essential for early pregnancy. And then there's a combination of Can't Beat This, the Power Shake, and the love shake. And it's called Can't Beat the Power of Love. Right. And that provides energy and vital nutrients. And then some people, like to incorporate even CBD to help with stress management, if that's something that you feel comfortable with. And yeah, let's move to second trimester. All right. In the second trimester, the baby is growing really rapidly, and fine details are starting to happen, like fingerprints and hair and reflexes, and the nervous system starts to mature, and the baby actually begins to move, all right, which is like deepening the connection with the mother. The placenta, it gets stronger, it gets thicker, it expands the vascular networks to really optimize getting oxygen to the baby. Really cool too, it filters toxins and it shares the maternal antibodies. So it acts as a protective shield to the baby. Okay. And so in the second trimester for mom, bigger mental shifts start to happen as the intuition heightens even more. Oh, wait, did I? Okay. So renewed clarity, connection to creativity, pregnancy brain might start to happen, which is really, it's like we're tuning out of the day-to-day and like kind of the list world, and things seem to be getting more vague, but what's actually happening is that we're starting to get into connecting with our baby on deeper level and heightening our intuition even more. Second trimester, sometimes the energy really starts to return for mama. And of course, the belly starts to expand. Many women don't show until about 20 weeks. And so with the growing belly, there's also an expanded heart capacity. Literally, like more blood flow, the heart opens and has to work a little harder. But even on that spiritual, energetic level, our hearts are becoming bigger. And then on the soul level, many women start to feel like really creative and really, really attuned to their baby's spirit. In regard to nutrition, again, the daily core 4 and chlorella, right? So that starts to support detoxing and immune health, extra super aminos that will help with muscle and tissue growth of both mama and baby. Daily fiber blend that can add just like support to your digestion as your body is changing. Biofruit is really nice. You might start to have kind of sugar cravings at that time. And if you instead of laying into like candy and sweets, if you go to the biofruit, that's going to support a really balanced blood sugar levels. And then for belly and growing, parts of your body, your thighs, your belly, your booty, you can use the tropical oil to help just nourish your skin and support that expansion. All right. And let's see. Actually, there's a couple more here. Oh, nope. That's good. Thanks. So go to the next trimester. All right. Third trimester. So that's weeks 27 to 40. All right. So the baby starts to gain weight. It's developing its lung maturity. It's preparing for birth by practicing breathing and opening its eyes. Sometimes we don't think about this, but the baby has never breathed, right? It's just the amniotic fluids and the nutrients that are going through the baby's body. And it will start to actually tune in to its sleeping cycles and its waking cycles. And then consciousness deepens and the baby starts to respond to voices and emotions. So whatever mama's feeling, oftentimes baby's feeling, but baby is also starting to have their own emotions. And just like a little bookmark here, right? So when we're pregnant and so much is going on inside of us and outside of us, like literally we have to reorganize our entire, world to make space for another being. And then we're also growing this child inside of our bodies. It's a lot to ask of ourselves. It's so much to ask of ourselves. And so, if we really support ourselves with great nutrition and community and positive thoughts, it's really going to help create an inner environment that's optimal for baby. And it's going to give us what we really need to be able to address all those changes on a larger level. Just didn't want to forget to say that. And it's also going to set you up for an easier postpartum journey. At this point, the placenta is starting to reach full maturity. All right. So it's peaking in its nutrient transfer, its hormone regulation, and then it actually starts to do emotional signaling between the mom and the baby. All right. It supports fetal brain growth and it prepares to release the baby. All right, so what's going on with mama? In her mind, a deep internal focus starts to set in. There's going to be nesting instincts that start to emerge and preparing for the birth. Inside of her body, or inside and outside, the body actually stretches to its fullest capacity. And so discomfort can be increased as the baby starts to drop down. It's like, what is going on? You literally start to become aware that you just have this human being growing inside of your body. I remember the first time that I was in the bathtub looking at my belly and talking to my daughter, and she did like a full somersault, and I saw like what was her butt like go up and down, and it's wild what goes on in all aspects when you start to just realize that that's happening. And then on a soul level, you realize that you're like really reaching a threshold moment, right? The baby's between the worlds and getting ready to birth. And it's not just the child that's being birthed, but a new version of the mother. And every time the mother does not just birth a child, she births a family. So she's birthing a new version of herself, but also a new version of her family, which is really wild. And so the things that really help nutritionally and with Purium, again, we're leaning into the daily core four. That's just going to be the staple through, your whole pregnancy. Biofruit, chlorella, this is going to continue to provide ongoing nourishment. The Power Shake is super rich in folate for the final fetal development. And then upping the super aminos, and that's going to help support stretching of the tissues and muscle strength. Spirulina, many people don't know that spirulina is really nature's multivitamin for overall wellness. And that's true with prenatal and pregnancy as well. And then C from nature, that's going to aid in digestion and nutrient absorption and just really help to like create a container for overall wellness. So yeah, we can move to the next slide. So, the pregnancy is like this full spectrum transformation. The mother's journey is just as profound as the baby's growth and the placenta's function, and each trimester brings a different physical, emotional, and spiritual experience, and it requires specific nutrients to support the evolving needs of both the mom and the baby. And really, it's the ultimate, like one of the things I remember so finally is knowing that I was approaching birth and that I had no option to not go through it. And from being a student of midwifery and attending births and many births that were successful and many births that, not many births, but some births, that like my awareness was I'm not guaranteed a living baby until I have a living baby in my arms and I've come through pregnancy. So it really felt to me like this rite of passage. I was set out on a journey that I could not turn back from. And the only way to navigate this experience was to go through it. And so I really just want to punctuate what an incredible journey it is. It's something that happens so many times a day. I think, I don't remember the number. I used to know like X amount of babies being born every second. And it's something we really take for granted. But if you think about it, like the miracle of where in the, like, there was no baby, now there's a baby, it's growing inside of our bodies. And I'll end by saying, I remember when I was pregnant how people treated me. Everybody was like so kind and opening doors and like beaming smiles and wanting to help. And I was like, wow, I think that we should all treat each other every single day as if we're pregnant. And I say that because that's the very mind frame that I use with my body, especially if I'm going, if I feel like I'm getting a little out of balance or just if I get off, and especially if I get way off, I often think, what would I want to be putting in my body if I knew I were growing another human being? Right. And the same thing that we're talking about here is the same thing that whether we're pregnant or not, the daily core four. It's just such a profound system. Last thing. One of the things I've loved about studying midwifery and being with families while they're birthing and supporting women and families is that birth has such a spiritual component as well. And the same is true, in my opinion and in my experience, with imbibing these superfoods. These plants have an intelligence. They have a wisdom and a consciousness. So when we're imbibing them, especially during pregnancy, we're just really like Purium. When I was nursing, I was like, oh, the earth gives us everything we need. Like literally, eating plants and eating from the earth and eating nature is just literally like a mother breastfeeding her child. And finding Purium when I was 2 years postpartum and being able to support myself to come out of a very, very deep postpartum depression. I was able to basically turn around my hypothyroidism. I actually had Hashimoto's, autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. And I was able to turn that around and really become the healthiest that I had ever been. And so that's just the message is let's support not only, women wanting to become mamas, pregnant mamas, postpartum, but also ourselves with Epic Nutrition. So that's what I have today and love to. Neva, do we have any mamas here on the call who have done the journey of pregnancy with Purium?
I am not sure. I do see some mamas on here. And so if you do have a story where you've been using Purium through your pregnancy, we would love to hear your story here today. If you're open to sharing it, you can just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll have you come on and share your own personal journey. And also, if anyone here has any questions for Grace or any of the council members here, we'd be happy to dive in and answer any questions to the best of our ability. And I've definitely helped a lot of moms on their journey through pregnancy with these superfoods and seen a significant, such a significant change in their energy levels and their sleep levels and their reduction of morning sickness. I had one mother in particular, I'll share a little bit of her story, where she was able to, she was having a really hard time consuming anything. Her morning sickness was so severe. And sometimes in the first 2 to 3 months, we all have different experiences through pregnancy. But for some women, morning sickness can be just the first couple weeks, first few months, or some people have it through their whole pregnancy. And so for this woman in particular, she had morning sickness her entire pregnancy. All strong odors and smells would literally set her off to need to go and vomit or have the feeling of nausea, which was really uncomfortable. Who wants to be nauseous for 9 months, right? So any smell of onions or any strong odor of certain spices would set her off immediately. And so she often would just stay home where she felt safe because she can control her smells and her environment. And she was not able to eat a lot of foods because a lot of foods that she ate would also cause nausea. And so one of the things that really helped her was taking Super Amino 23 first thing in the morning. Getting that nutrition, that protein in first thing really helped her to not feel nauseous. And then she was able to eat some food and feel a little bit better throughout the day. So the Super Amino 23 definitely helped her, even though she did have symptoms of morning sickness throughout her entire pregnancy. The aminos helped her in the morning to be able to get food in without having, without having to have a nauseous feeling the whole time she was eating. She had a hard time, this particular mom had a hard time with the Power Shake, although I've had several moms tell me that the Power Shake also helps subside nausea and signs of morning sickness. So like I said, all of us are different, right? We all deal differently with this nutrition or with this, being pregnant and having this new person growing inside of us. And so for some moms, the Power Shake can be really beneficial and also offset the feelings of nausea and morning sickness. For this mom in particular, the aminos were the most helpful. She was able to introduce the Power Shake, but she could not drink an entire shake or she would go throw it up. So she would make a shake and she would take small sips, like shot glasses. And she would take a shot glass and sit with it for a little while and then come back and take another shot, right? And so she couldn't just drink down a shake. She had to actually take small amounts at a time to offset the feeling of feeling nauseous. So, I know that the aminos and the Power Shake are definitely two that are very helpful during the entire pregnancy. The aminos have so many benefits. They help with skin elasticity, which can really be helpful as your belly, grows to the size of your belly through full term. So it can really help eliminate the signs of stretch marks through pregnancy. It's also a really great protein source for you and the baby and the development of the baby. It helps with collagen production, which helps with your skin, your eyes, your ligaments. So I could go on and on about the aminos, but those are definitely one of my most highly recommended for pregnant women as well as postpartum. And I know Mary Beth, you had your hand up. Where did you go? Because you got some incredible knowledge you can share too. So why don't you come on and share your story? Thanks for being on here.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for this great presentation, Gracie. That was awesome. I love the breakdown. And yeah, some of you guys have heard my stories, but for those that you haven't, I have 3 kids. The first one I did not have Purium with, and then the other 2 had Purium the entire journey of pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and post-pregnancy. And with my first son, about 13 months postpartum, I started to really feel symptoms of postpartum depletion in terms of my hair falling out, my nails breaking, sleep, just very, very little sleep. My moods were all over the place and really just not feeling like myself at all. And at the time, I considered myself one of the healthier people that I knew. So I was really confused on what was going on. And then that's when Purium came into my life and I learned more about the importance of our soil quality and how that affects our food so much. And then, of course, cleaning up the gut and how that affects our dopamine and serotonin and all that. And so getting on Purium, 3 months after starting Purium, I got pregnant with my second child. So these foods are they create a very ripe environment for housing fetuses and the like. And literally within 2 months after being on the program consistently, I started to like come back to myself. I mean, immediately I started noticing increase in my energy and just my moods feeling better and getting better sleep. But it was really 2 months in that I was like, whoa, this is what I remember feeling like. And I had literally gotten to a state of so much depletion that it took 2 months to get back to my normal being, even as a healthy individual. So and then like I said, I've had Purium with the other 2 children, and I've never once experienced any of those postpartum depletion symptoms like I did with my first son. And the only difference is adding in Purium. So Purium has been a huge asset to my journey and something I feel really passionate about sharing with other mothers because I just don't think it's talked about enough how much we're giving and how much it takes to birth a child and create a child. And the mother, I know it for myself as a mom, I often end up putting my needs on the back burner, right? And so Purium has been a way for me to really take care of my own needs so that I can serve my children to the best of my ability and what they deserve. So some of the the products that have been essential in my journey is absolutely the Core 4 and the ULT. And then also the barley grass juice. Anytime I noticed like my milk supply or anything decreasing, I just take the barley grass juice and almost immediately it's like back to supple flow. So that's been a big one. The biofruit has been really big in terms of just replenishing the vitamins in my body. The aminos, anytime I was starting to feel like nausea or morning sickness, the aminos were my go-to. And for me, they really supported that and almost nipped it in the bud right away. So as a nursing mom now, the aminos are something that I carry in my handbag. So if I need a little extra boost of energy or just feeling a dip, I take the aminos. Always have a shake on hand. And the Renew Hair, Skin, and Nails has also been really big that I've introduced into during pregnancy with my third child and now in postpartum again. So there's just an abundance of nutrients that are here for us with Purium that can support your children. All of my kids take Purium, and then also additionally, of course, support mama as we're going through this journey because, growing a baby is one thing and then nursing a baby is a whole nother thing, right? And so we have to keep our replenishment up. And I'm just so grateful to have Purium to do that. So thanks for letting me share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your knowledge and wisdom with us, and also, sharing your own journey through pregnancy and how Purium has supported you, as well as all the incredible recommendations. Really appreciate that. So if anybody else has, if you were pregnant with Purium and you'd like to share your story, then we invite you to come on. Or if you have any questions too, we do have a little bit of time to dive into some questions as well. And I also just wanted to point out that the tropic oil that Grace mentioned is coconut oil. So using coconut oil internally as well as on your body to help with stretch marks, skin elasticity, all of that is super important. And you can get coconut oil in a lot of places. We used to have a coconut oil through Purium called tropic oil. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what the tropic oil was. And so, yeah, I'll pass it back over to you, Grace, if there's any other things that you would like to share with our community.
I just wanted to jump in if I can for a sec, if you guys can hear me well.
Yeah. Hi, Sherry.
Yeah. Okay, great. Hi. First, Grace, that was an amazing presentation. I really wish I had been invited to a presentation like that when I was ready to become pregnant with my boys, because the message that I received was very, very different. And it wasn't one of nourishing the body and taking care of ourselves in order to, nourish our baby, our growing baby, and then be able to take care of our baby once they're born and ensure that we are also in optimal health. The message I received was one more of depletion. It was like being selfless, like giving all of yourself. And it was so ironic that even while pregnant with my first son, I didn't make that connection that in order to ensure that he was healthiest growing, that I had to nourish myself, because that was quite literally how he was going to be nourished, right? But I saw it as two separate things. And so during my entire pregnancy, I neglected myself. And when he was born, I continued that cycle of just neglecting myself. There were days where I went without eating, and I was postpartum, and that obviously, I needed nourishment then more than anything else, because giving birth is a trauma to the body, and you do need to replenish, and you do need to nourish. And I did not do that. And I saw, and I had to go through the consequences of that, and my health suffered a lot, and my hormones took so much longer to rebalance. And it was really difficult. I had like breast infections, and I was low energy, and my mood was all over the place. And so I think this message is so important, that message of nourishing ourselves in order to nourish the baby. Obviously, the idea of having babies who are born on Purium, who had it in the womb, is like the ideal. And so it makes my heart so happy that this is an option for people today. And this is why we need to be sharing videos like this, because this information is so important, that foundation for baby's health. And then to really ensure that mom is as healthy as she can be, because she is the one that, is that primary caregiver for the baby. It's, all the research shows how important it is that the baby's first bonding happens with their mom. And so all of this, of course, goes back to how well we're taking care of ourselves. So again, I just think this is so important. I hope that I know I will share this video as much as possible, because now I understand the importance of taking care of myself. And so I'm at an all-day hockey tournament for my boys, and while I was packing their lunches and kind of focused on everything that they would need for the day, I ensured that I also made sure that I, packed my power shake and packed, I can't beat this with some apothecary for later on, and had all of my capsules with me. And so I can stay nourished as well. And I can stay sharp and energized for them, but also for myself. So I think that message is so important. The other thing I just wanted to quickly mention is, as a health coach, I've coached many moms who were trying to get pregnant and are pregnant. One specific story I just wanted to share really quick is that oftentimes when women are pregnant, that they can often experience anemia, right? That's a very, very common thing that happens during pregnancy. And this one particular client of mine was vegan, and she had gone to see her doctor, and her doctor said that she was so anemic that he wanted her to start eating meat. And it was just not something that she was willing to do. And she reached out to me and she said, my doctor is telling me that by my next appointment, if my numbers are not up, he either wants me to start eating meat or he's going to prescribe me pills, right? Iron pills. And so I put her on a core 4. And within 3 weeks, when she went back to her doctor, her numbers were in the normal range, like well into the normal range. The doctor was shocked. He had no idea what she did and how she did it so quickly. And she's been hooked ever since. And so she's now on her second pregnancy, and she's had Purium. She's continues with her core 4 throughout both and in between. And her first baby is now a Purium baby, even still today as a toddler. And so it really shows the power of nutrition and how that should be our first. That's what we should be utilizing first, especially while pregnant. And it's the most effective thing that we can do for ourselves and our baby.
Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Mary Beth. I appreciate both of you so much for chiming in with your experience and how this has really supported you. And Alan, I see that you have your hand up. I'd love to hear from you. You are muted. How do we help Alan unmute? Let's see here.
Here we go. Thank you. Sorry. The doorbell rang and my Purium order just arrived. Yay! And that's important because I have the community I live in. On the first Friday of the month, we have First Friday Festival, and I do a booth like what we learned at convention from Carolina and Ra. Okay. And so I do that, and I'm just so grateful because I was completely out of power shake, and it's here, yay! But I want to thank you. So just really fast, I'm going to be short. I know I'm not a mom, but I'm a dad. I have my former wife and we have 6 children. Those 6 children have given me so far 20 grandchildren. But my 4 youngest children, we birthed at home. You and I have to talk. I can hardly wait because out of that, my wife became a midwife with her gal Kathy. We had a spiritual midwifery business, and we ministered to the Amish in the Thumb of Michigan. My wife and Kathy and I was part of a lot of it because I would bring the spiritual conversation to the family, and we would get together with the mom and the dad, and we'd have these conversations and talk about the Lord and the spiritual dynamics of birth. What you described, and the way you talked about the placenta, I tell every man, you are cheating yourself out of not being a part of delivering your child, and you helped create that child. It's your responsibility to birth that child and bring that child forth from your wife's womb and work in unison with your wife and with our loving Creator and bring forth that child. It is an experience. No, my youngest is 28. That even to talk about it never leaves you because it's such an emotional thing. And as a father, the bonding that happens transcends any other experience. And the cord cutting and all that, I loved your story on that. I'm grateful that I came on today. I just was happenstance. I thought, because I'm not a mom. but I'm building my Purium business and I want to be able to. And then this is pregnant. My daughter-in-law, one of my son's daughters is pregnant, and my oldest granddaughter just announced to us that she's pregnant. Her and her husband are pregnant with their first, and she's going to be 22 this year. So I'm excited about that, and I'm looking forward to sharing this video or that we've talked and connecting. And I just thank and applaud all of you ladies, everyone in Purium, that we carry that torch and that message and sharing the goodness of Purium with everybody. I just wanted to thank you, but I'm grateful what you said today, my dear, was recorded, because that was very profound. And I look forward to sharing it with other people and connecting with you through Purium. God bless you all, and thank you, and have a blessed, beautiful Purium day.
That was so beautiful, Alan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you brought in the fathers into the journey. That was one of the things that we focused on a lot in midwifery school, is really the father's role and how important that is. My daughter's dad actually took a doula training prior to my birth so that he could really understand and kind of know it inside and out. So thank you, Alan. Appreciate you so much. Are there any other questions or comments? I would love to hear from you. Questions about birth or Purium, or even just anything that you got from the presentation, anything that stood out to you.
You guys, hi. I wanted to say thank you so much for this whole entire presentation. And Alan, what you said is spot on. Having my son's father go through Lamaze classes with me and having him with me meant the world to me. And that experience for him is the best experience of his life. He recalls it all the time. And I want you guys to know, the men in the room are male clients. It is a detox for guys as well. It's very important for us to be conscious and aware, and when it comes to conception. And epigenetics is real. You can be the sickliest of guys and want a child in your life and amp your masculinity up and have those good genetics come forth through into your children. This is a very important subject matter for men as well. And to have this path together, there couldn't be a better bonding experience, and having both parties be fully capable of expressing their genetics well during conception.
Thank you so much for that, Martha. Really appreciate you. Isabel, I see your hand up. I'd love to hear from you. Isabella, excuse me.
Thank you guys so much. This presentation was so beautiful. And it was so wonderful. I'm a mom of two young girls, and I had two home-free births. But to know how to better support our family, friends, and customers with Purium, and you broke it down in such an easy to understand, and it just lit up such positive memories from my pregnancies with my daughters. And then also I realized all the hard symptoms I had. If I would have had Purium during that time, my experiences would have been revolutionarily different. And so I did as much as I could to eat healthy veggies. But I mean, if I would have had super aminos and all of these things, then I'm just really grateful to you for the way you broke it down, because I feel like this isn't easy to utilize to help us on that amount of people. And this whole call and everyone on here, everybody that's contributed and spoken, you've really touched my heart. And I just want to send so much love to this business and community. I'm really grateful to be a part of Purium, to be here with each and one of you, and to be working to make the planet better and be the lives of all of those that we know. So just love to you all, and gratitude.
Thank you, Isabella. I so appreciate you. That's beautiful feedback. Ben, I'd love to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. I actually tuned in about 20 minutes late to this, but felt like I landed in the conversation right in the right moments. We started our ULT, and actually, my partner is next to me going through a pretty significant detox. And what I want to share is, oh man, my first 3 children, all boys, I got to be part of delivering them in the hospital setting, able to scrub in and kind of help receive them. Somewhat of a disconnected experience and just working with, as a man, I didn't carry this child. So where is my role in bringing this child through? And then my fourth child, our daughter, me and my current partner's daughter, we did a free birth. And oh my goodness, it was just a full-blown ceremony. And it took me into a space of guardianship of the container, of the ceremony, meeting with ancestors, elders, entities, guardians that were literally there supporting, feeling their presence in such a balance of divine masculine and feminine as I engaged and became very present and aware of my contribution, my role, and bringing through our child, and got to fully deliver our child, our baby girl, our first girl. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And we weren't using Purium at the time. That was just, and I share this just because it's all coming through now, and wanted to speak into this circle, this container. It was such a beautiful awakening of how important it is, the way the masculine does show up in those moments, and how much support is there when the masculine shows up in full presence and support of the creation, the magic of creation that's happening in the womb space of the queen, of the mother, and how that does embody also, great mother, Mother Earth. And just wanted to share, like, learning so much through that. And now we are working with Purium. We're right at about 1 month. We just, same thing as Alan. Like, I literally just got the knock on the door about an hour ago of our second delivery came through. And I think there's a lot here for me to ask a specific question, but I'll engage Mary Beth and continue to kind of chime in. As we're detoxing, we're experiencing a lot, and that doesn't just affect us, but obviously the nourishment that that our baby girl is receiving through being nursed. And I have a lot of curiosity about, as we're detoxing and these energetic essences that are stored in the cellular structure of our gut biome and just our beings in general, how to even grow in supporting as a man, knowing that that's an intimate bond between mother and child, mother and baby, to support as they're detoxing, like going through, again, my partner is going through such beautiful detox, but I can see, like, how important it is right now to hold kind of a guardianship around that beautiful interaction as she's passing on nourishment into the baby while she's also detoxing. And it's powerful. It's just phenomenal. I feel like I'm kind of overwhelmed with so much I want to say about all this, so I'm going to cut it off there. But just want to share that container and continue to grow in wisdom on how to support and nourish the beautiful process of creation. So thank you.
That was so beautiful, Ben. I really appreciate you. I'm really glad that the men's kind of role in the journey, it's not even a role necessarily, I don't think, because, it is like we are birthing a whole new family, and it does take that container of mother and father and, the two parents. I just want to say, and then we probably need to shift gears because we're getting to the end of our time. But one of the things that was revolutionary in my journey of being a birth worker, I had a blog at the time, and a dad in the community kind of cornered me in Whole Foods. And he said, if you want to help women and families and you want to help children, help fathers, because we are lost. I'm like having a hard time out here, you know? So I actually put together course called Energetics of Birth. And the first time I did it, I worked just with the women. And then after getting that information from that father, I actually brought on a male counterpart and we did the experience together and we actually broke out, you know, so we did. The women had time just doing their process, the men had time doing their process, and then we came together at the end of each class and shared. And it was really powerful to see what happened when the family was, you know, the mother and father were going through the journey together versus all the focus being on the mom and the dad's kind of like just holding the outside, you know, because everybody is going through a profound transformation. And I think one of the places where we do fall short as a culture in birth is how to support our men to support each other. So thank you so much for speaking into that. I'm going to hand it back to you, Nayeva, to close us out. But what a beautiful conversation. And thank you, everybody, for your contributions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all your knowledge, Grace, and for everybody who came on and shared your stories and just shared your passion around being a part of this community, because each one of you is a part of this incredible community. And the mission of the Million Mom Movement is that we are 1,000 people from 100 different communities, each here to spread knowledge around health, well-being, and the economic empowerment that we offer here at Purium, all around organic superfood nutrition, with at least 10 families each in our communities, right? That's how we're going to reach 1 million strong. And we're really working on expanding our reach. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this mission, a part of this movement. Thank you for sharing your voices here today and sharing, you know, inviting people here to these presentations, as well as sharing the replays out there far and wide. We do have some great resources for everyone. So I just want to share a couple pages here with you real quick. We have these great resources of, you know, our Sad to Rad books, our recipe books that we want you to take advantage of. So we do want you to have access to these. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that page or scan whichever one that you would like to scan with your camera. You can open up the camera on your phone and scan it. At the end of each book, it has the link to all the other books. So don't worry, if you just scan one of them, you have access to all of them. And so I just want to make sure everybody has that resource. It's also posted in our other resource I'm going to share with you right now. So we'd like to invite you to become a part of our community. And if you're brand new here, this is your first Million Mom Movement live or replay that you're watching, we want to invite you to be a part of our community and help us grow this movement. The person that invited you here invited you because they care about you and they want you to have the support of this incredible community. And so please reach back out to the person that invited you here so they can make sure that you're connected into all of the resources that you have access to. Last but not least, I want to invite you to like, follow, and share our different platforms. So first, go like us on Facebook at Million Mom Movement. It's our Facebook page where we are currently going live. So if you want to share the live from today, or tag some women or men on that live that you want to watch the replay, you can go ahead and tag them on the live right now or share it on your pages or your stories and get that out there into your community. You can share it to your groups if you want to. Really great resource that is right now, this whole replay is available. Also, you can join our Facebook group, Million Mom Movement Official on Facebook, where the replay gets posted. Once it's up on YouTube, I post the replay into the group where you can have access to the link and anything that we shared here today. So when we share any resources, we share our resources in that group. That is also our community group. So we invite you to be a resource in that group. Share your stories, go live in that group. If you see inspirational things out there that you think would be beneficial to the entire community, fun recipes or things like that, please share it into the group. Each and every one of you here is a part of this movement, and we want to include you in that community, in this community. And then I would also like to invite you to follow us on Instagram if you're not already. You can tag us on your post, you can tag us on your stories. to have a chance to be featured in our stories or on our pages. So please do use that resource. You can also share other resources we shared on Instagram. You can, repost those different reels or different resources that are on that page. You can post those to your stories or to your pages if you want to. So please use that page. Each and every one of you here is a part of the community. So I can't stress that enough, that these resources are there for you to use. And we really want to include you into our community. So you can follow each other on Instagram, interview each other, have fun, really getting the word out there about what we have here. And last but not least, I know several of you asked where you can find the replay. All of our replays are posted on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed there yet, please go give us a subscribe on YouTube so that you will get an email every time a replay is posted, and you can have access to nearly 300 replays from past presentations all around family nutrition, health, women's health, family health, all of the things. We've covered so many topics. And a really great way to find the replays that you're looking for is you can use Google as your friend, and you can type in Million Mom Movement and any keyword that you're looking for. So Million Mom Movement and pregnancy would be a great way to Google. This replay will pop up in your feed, as well as so many others. So I just want to make sure everybody knows how to get the resources that you need. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Next week, you can join us on the Million Mom Movement Friday call with Dominique Jeffries, who will be hosting us in our business presentation. So if you have people interested in joining us in the business here, next week will be the one that you want to invite people to. So we look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and have a beautiful weekend.